Wessex LMCs supporting general practice to be the best for our communities.
Wessex LMCs is the local representative body recognised in statute for GPs and their practices across the Wessex area. We cover the 3 committees of Bath and North East Somerset, Swindon and Wiltshire, otherwise known as BSW, Dorset and Hampshire and the Isle of Wight. We also provide support for the GPs of Guernsey and Jersey. Each committee is elected by the GP constituents it covers and is entirely independent. The 3 LMCs form a board comprising of the elected chair and vice chair of each committee. The board employs the joint chief executives of Wessex LMCs, Dr Laura Edwards and Dr Andy Perbrick, and a non-executive director, Polly Neat. The joint CEOs, a directorate and administration team run the LMC's office. So how do the committees function? Each committee meets 6 times a year with a joint members conference held annually. The chairs and vice chairs meet to ensure that meeting agendas are relevant. Committee members seek feedback and opinion from local GPs, and this feedback is debated in committee meetings. This in turn feeds into motions written by committees for their attendance at the annual LMC England and UK conferences. The England and UK conference motions drive the General Practitioners branch of the BMA negotiations for the NHS and government. So let's hear from some of our members on their experiences of sitting on one of Wessex LMC's committees.
I think it's all too easy as a GP to only know what goes on maybe in your consultation room or in your practice. And part of why I wanted to get involved was to, look up a little bit, look outside of my little GP world and learn more about what's happening elsewhere. So I think that a large part of what we do is to give people a voice, give people who don't have the time, the space, the bandwidth to be able to lift up their head and look up and speak up. I think we are, if we do our job well, we should be doing that speaking up for them. One of the things that I've enjoyed almost most about being involved with Wessex LMCs is that the culture of the organisation always makes you feel like you've got a seat at the table.
The meetings are chaired really well and managed really well so that everyone gets an opportunity to speak if they want to, but equally there's no pressure to have to do so a lot if you don't feel comfortable doing that. And in terms of trying to get things onto the agenda, there's always an opportunity to suggest items for the agenda. That does get discussed at board level behind the scenes, but you still have an opportunity to be able to propose things for the agenda, and certainly being on the committee gives you much more of an idea about the topics that are being discussed and what's relevant, and probably gives you a greater degree of power to do that. Well, there's also the opportunity to go to national conferences, which for me has been really, really amazing experience. Huge opportunity to network with people from all areas of the country, to really get a real passionate vibe about general practice and primary care, and those people that really want to be the movers and shakers and make a difference at a national level. And you can feel very much inspired to want to step up and do more from being involved in that.
Privileged to have been chair of Dorset for almost 4 full years now, and I'm very grateful to have the experience of having a wide breadth of good committee members with a huge different set of skill sets, but I would always say first and foremost that a committee member needs to be mindful that they are there to represent their constituent GPs. So I'm very, very positive on GPs having a firm connection with their constituent GPs and able to feed issues up to the committee, where we can then debate and decide what the relevant courses of action are. The first kind of thing I would make sure that's very clear is that everybody's opinion is valid, and of course everybody approaches general practice from a different perspective with a different set of experiences, and actually the length of time that you've had in the game, to my mind, is not a hugely relevant factor. It's people who have just qualified. In fact, I'm privileged to say in Dorset we've got, I think statistically the youngest committee we've ever had, which is great because it shows a swell of ground level enthusiasm of people coming out of training to join the LMC. I think people coming into their career at that point, into the LMC at that point with that chronologically low level of experience or amount of experience have a different view on matters than people who've been working for 30, 40 years, but that doesn't make their views any less or more valid than the next person. I think experience always is a valuable quality, but it's very important that our LMC caters for the next generation of GPs because their priorities may be different from the current generation, and Wessex LMCs are there to serve and support all GPs.
If you'd like to get more involved, contact us to request joining one of our committee meetings as an observer and think about standing for the LMC as a representative. Find out more on our website or drop us an email. Thank you.
Wessex LMCs supporting general practice to be the best for our communities.